All right, Elyse.
Yes.
We need to do a
sound check.
Exactly.
Okay, I'm ready. Coco, Coldplay Live, Colossal, Coraline, Crazy Stupid Love, Creed, Crimson Pete.
Are you just reading my
Dead
movies?
Poet Society.
Vow, view, vow, view, vow, view, vow, view.
Vow to view, vow, 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 vow to view. Vow to view each other's movies, even though we don't always like them, but it's okay because we love each other and movies too.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to Vow To View, your doof media podcast all about marriage and the things we make each other watch, and sometimes you guys watch. My name is Elyse Daly.
And I'm Scott Daly.
And together,
we're the Dailies. Yes, this is the podcast where each and every week my wife Elyse and I pick a movie and make each other watch it.
Or TV show.
Then we sit in front of a microphone and we talk about that movie.
And I was under this impression that everybody else watched these things too. And now I'm finding out that you guys don't watch these things too. Like, what is this?
Elyse,
this is a one-sided relationship where we're doing all of the work.
Yeah.
What?
That's podcasting, baby. September is here, and with it the fall, and with that, the return of fall TV.
Oh, yeah.
So to celebrate, we're spending the entire month of September
dedicated to TV.
Making each other watch some of our favorite episodes of television, all the way from childhood to adulthood.
Yes.
To now. This week.
But this is adulthood.
We're past adulthood now, babe.
We are? What are we?
We're just old.
Oh.
We're just old now. That's where we're at.
I didn't realize I was that old. But I am. Yeah. See, people ask me how long I've been teaching, and I say, this is my 8th year. And then they go, whoa, you don't look that old to be teaching for 8 years. You look really young. And I guess I take that as a compliment, but then It's also like that whole weird thing of, man, you must be old because this is 8 years. So
yeah, when you started teaching, the
really
kids
weird.
You're teaching now were toddlers.
My first graduating class is this year that I've ever taught. And these kids this year were born the year I graduated high school. So
wow.
They could have parents my age. Wow. Yeah. It's crazy.
Speaking of that, this week we're talking about our childhood.
Oh, yeah. Childhood.
And our favorite television shows from when we were kids.
I should have asked my kids what their favorite TV shows are right now.
That would have been a good thing to talk about.
That would have been a really good thing to talk about.
You know what it is? You know what their favorite TV show is?
Fortnite. It's not even a TV
their
show.
Favorite TV
or
show
YouTube.
We don't watch TV anymore. We watch YouTube.
I know. It's all about the YouTubesters.
YouTubesters?
I don't know. I just wanted to say YouTubesters.
We watched Logan Paul.
And gosh, he ruined me last year.
So funny.
No, he's not. He was the bane of my existence.
And then one time, Logan Paul played Fortnite, and it was like the greatest crossover in history.
Wow.
I don't actually know.
It's all about...
I'm assuming.
These like slime channels, people making slime. At least that's what it was last year. Everybody wanted to be a YouTube star when they grew up.
So, Elyse.
Yeah. What's up, Scott?
You picked a television show last week.
I did.
And
bad news, guys.
If you've noticed, the cover photo on the podcast
is not Mary-Kate and Ashley. I know Dean Cain looks strikingly similar, but
it's like
not even the same
Mary-Kate
family.
And Ashley mirror.
I know.
Yeah. So Elyse picked. What was the name of
Two of a Kind.
Yeah. So this television show, it doesn't exist.
I will say every single other Mary-Kate and Ashley movie, TV show. I don't know what else they would have done.
It's like it's like they're embarrassed.
It really is. It's like they realized that this was a mistake. They only had it on for 2 seasons anyway.
Yeah.
And then the only way that we thought we could see it was on YouTube, those YouTubesters. But
yeah, someone illegally ripped it to YouTube, but it got taken down.
And
it's funny because
we didn't get to watch it at all.
We had one of our patrons looking into this for us. Thanks, Prof.
Thank you.
Looking to see if there was even a way they could get it illegally. Not that we would do that, but
I would do it. Scott wouldn't let me do it.
But no one even bothered to rip it to pirate. So there's not even like you can't even pirate.
I want to find it somewhere. There has to be some DVD. Did we look on eBay? Did we see if anyone was selling it on eBay?
I did not look on eBay. No.
We should look on eBay and see if anyone has it.
The point is,
now I'm on a mission to find it.
The point is that we had to
just scrap it for this week. Yeah. We'll find it on eBay at some point in time.
No two of a kind. What did you pick instead?
I picked Lois and Clark: The Adventures of Superman.
And I picked Batman the Animated Series. So we both went
DC
superheroes.
Because we're so serious.
So yeah, we're going to talk about both of those shows. Our
childhood was just so serious.
No.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about both of those shows. We're going to talk about some roses and thorns. But first,
we only have 2 more weeks of this. It's the BIP.
I was told.
Are you done? Are you done now?
I was told it was a bit much.
It's not that it's a bit much. It just really doesn't sound like throw up. It just sounds, I don't know, like what? I don't know.
It sounds like throw up, Elyse.
No.
I'm sorry I don't throw up daintily like you do.
That's more.
That's literally what I did.
Well, no, you do.
Yeah.
You have it carry on for a while.
Yes, obviously. I'm just gonna. Let's move on. Let's talk about your stupid show.
Okay. So this
5 hours.
Oh, I thought you had something that you really were trying to signal to tell me. So it was 5 hours this week.
I'm so mad at you.
I was really upset that they had it for that long anyways too. But we're not even going to talk about it for we'll talk about it for a while. But really the big things that happened this week, Colton and Tia broke up. And same thing kind of that happened last season that was this season. They decided that the guy that was on Bachelor in Paradise, they wanted to have be the Bachelor. So way to go, Colton. You get 3 seasons in a row, all for you. Everyone gets Colton all day, every day.
Do you like this guy?
Okay, here's my thing. I did not necessarily like him when he was on Becca's season. It wasn't that I didn't like him. I was just very apathetic towards his whole situation because it just got annoying. And then when he was on Bachelor in Paradise, that's where I really started to not like him after he got with Tia. When he was not with Tia and he was actually trying to move on and do his own thing, I thought, you know what? Good for you. You're trying to do this. She's not listening to you. You've told her multiple times that you don't want to be with her and she's just not listening. And then I got frustrated. The whole reason that they're doing it is because very few of the Bachelors have ever been success stories. And the number one Bachelor success story is Sean Lowe. Sean Lowe was a football player. Sean Lowe was a virgin. Sean Lowe was a nice guy. And so they're trying to have another Sean Lowe. And it's really kind of sad. But, whatever. It'll be fine. The girls will be the same age as they always are. They're going to be as tacky as they always are. And hopefully he finds love, I guess. I don't know. I would have liked it to have been Will's. Or if they were going to pick someone from Bachelor in Paradise, I really would have liked for them to have picked Kevin, who's from Canada. He was on Bachelor Winter Games, and he's the firefighter with all the tattoos on his arm. And he just seems nice. And he also seems as though he's very in tune with his emotional health, which I think is important to have if you're going to be on the at the forefront of it. You need to be able to express yourself. And he has shown that he's very able to communicate how he's feeling to other people. And I think that
he's in a relationship with someone.
Well, right now, I don't know how this is going to end for him.
Well, let's make something clear here.
Yeah.
Monday, Colton.
He broke up with Tia so that he could become the Bachelor. We all know that.
I wish you would have let me say it.
Oh, I'm sorry. What happened, Scott?
No, it's fine.
I'm sorry.
He broke up with Tia so he could be the Bachelor.
Oh, no way. Did he really?
Yeah.
Whoa. Did you see it coming? Or was it a total shock? I tried. Anyways, my favorite part about the whole 5 hours was the date with the baby. With Joe and Kendall. And they won this supposed to be fabulous date, and then they ended up giving the date to the parents, and then they brought the babies out, and the babies were the date, and Kendall and Joe had to babysit, and I thought that was funny.
Mm-hmm.
Did you think it was funny?
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyways, we got one more week with it, and then we're done. We'll see how it ends up. There's supposed to be 3 engagements the whole time, 2 with the contestants, and then they had, Jared and Ashley were this week, weren't they? Jared and Ashley came back and they got engaged. That was the other thing. But that was really sad for Kevin to have to watch because Kevin was with Ashley. Anyways, that's Bachelor in Paradise.
Okay.
Yep.
Let's move on to Roses and Thorns.
Okay.
Every rose has its thorn.
Has its thorn.
Just like every night has its dawn.
Dawn, dawn, dawn.
Every cowboy sings a sad song. Every rose has its thorn. Yeah. Jesus. Elyse, what is your rose?
It was a 3-day weekend, Scott. It was 3 days. So I had my first day off of school, and it was nice because I had 3 full weeks, and now I'm on my 4th week. It's almost been a month since school has started, which is hard to believe, but I had one little holiday snuck in there, so it was nice.
What did you do on your day off?
Oh, I went and I worked out, and then we went to Legacy Hall, and that was fun. It was a food hall.
What is that?
It's a food hall.
What's a food hall?
It's like a building with booths of different little food places. It's like a food court, I guess, essentially. But the place that we live not the place that we live, but a place close to where we live has, it's this 3-story thing. And then on the bottom floor are all of the restaurants. And then the second floor is one little restaurant area and a bar. And then outside in the summer, they have a stage where you can go and have concerts and see movies and stuff. And it was fun.
Mm-hmm.
I had a good time. And then we watched BIP.
Yay.
Yeah. So what was your rose?
On Sunday, we spent the day in Fort Worth.
We did.
We were going out there. It was my sister's birthday, so we were going to see a show at the Bass Performance Hall in Fort Worth. So we went out there in the afternoon. We spent most of the afternoon at a coffee shop. You were reading. The first time you read a book since you started school.
I did read a little bit. I also graded.
Oh, there was a lot of grading.
Yeah, the grading was not fun.
I worked. You worked. And then we went to dinner with my family, and then we saw School of Rock.
Did you like it?
I did. It was fun. The beginning was a little slow.
Yeah.
There were times in the beginning when they moved into a song where I was like, just move on with the movie. Stop with the songs. But then it picked up. Basically, like, it needed to get to the kids sooner because the kids are the best part of the show.
Yeah.
So as soon as it got to the kids, it was great. And the lead playing off the kids was what made the whole show.
Jack Black.
Yeah, so they needed to get to that a little sooner. I understand they had to do the setup, but it just dragged a little bit at the beginning. But it was a lot of fun. They all actually were playing their instruments, which was really cool.
Well, good.
And Fort Worth trip, it was fun.
It was fun. We haven't been out there in a long time.
All right, Elyse, let's get negative.
Okay. So I changed my thorn because I had something, but I had just come up with something because I thought, you know what? Nothing really bad has happened this week, but then I remembered what happened. It's been really frustrating to me.
Is this going to be a weird body thing?
No, nothing at all. So we switched classes in the 5th grade, and so we're departmentalized for the most part. We all teach reading, language arts, social studies in one block, and then we either teach math or we teach science. So I teach math and I teach reading. And when our kids switch classes, because it's not the whole school that switches on our same schedule, we switch with grade level bells. And so for the past 7 years, we've switched with an old school, like just one of those service bells, you know what I mean? The like little metal ones that you just tap on the top and it rings, you know, so one of those bells. And then now that we're getting more doors in the hallway and we're trying to switch with bells, there's a little bit of an issue because it's not as easily heard by everyone in every different room. And so I got this bright idea. I was going to get a doorbell, a wireless doorbell with 2 different receivers, and I would have the remote, and we plug one of them in our main hallway and one of them in the teacher's classroom that has the other doors that are normally shut or it's hard for her to hear. And so it was a great idea. I bought it. I took it to school for a week and it worked perfectly. It was amazing. We could all hear it and it just was magical. And then last week, for some reason, it just all of a sudden up and stopped working. And it was really frustrating. And so I took it home over the 3-day weekend for it to work. And I plugged it in at home. And I said, Scott, help me fix this. And as soon as I plugged it in and pressed it at home, it worked.
You're welcome.
And then I took it back to school. And yesterday it worked. And today it doesn't work. I don't know what's happening. I am going mad. It doesn't work.
It sounds like it's your outlet.
I know. I've moved it to every single outlet. I've moved it to the one in the hallway. I've moved it to the other one in the hallway. I moved it to the one inside my team mate's room. I've moved it to the one inside my room. I moved it into my outlet, like my electric strip. And it doesn't work now in any of those. And then I even tried to troubleshoot it with looking up the manual and just repairing it with the remote thing. And so that doesn't even work, but the remote works because the other receiver works. So it's just one of them that doesn't ring. And it happens to be the one that's farther away that works. The one that's closer is the one that doesn't work. And I have no idea what's going on. And it's really frustrating.
That sucks.
Yeah. So I emailed the company today to ask if I could just get it exchanged. I said, because I got it from Amazon, and they sent me 5 questions back. Well, can you please answer these questions about the model of this? Have you looked at the back? Can you please see if there's a sticker of this? And if there is, would you please write the number? And I'm just thinking, all I want is an exchange. I'm not returning the product to get my money back. I still am giving you my money. I just want something that works. So please just let me switch it out. It's been really frustrating.
I can tell.
Sorry. But we have had to go back to the old school bell. That way classes can switch. But I'm going to get this worked out because it was a brilliant idea and now it's not working. And I'm really upset about it.
I'm sorry.
But what was your thorn, Scott?
My thorn is my computer. My computer is about 6 years old now. And it's finally starting to feel the age. I've been doing a lot of pretty memory intensive things on it and I need more memory and it's just starting to slow down. Like, you know, when you can just tell it's getting old, the pieces are getting old. And I was looking at whether I can upgrade or whether it makes more sense to just build a whole new PC. And it probably makes sense to build a whole new PC, but can't do that right now. I don't have the money for it. So I'm just kind of stuck with a slower computer.
If they have spare parts laying around?
No, I'm not going to ask people to send me spare parts.
Oh, okay. Don't send us spare parts. We don't have anywhere to put them. But we'll build, I'll let you build a computer. I'm not going to join in on that. I don't know where to even start on that. But it'll be okay. We'll get your computer built.
Well, in like a year. All right, Elyse.
Yes, Scotty.
Let's talk about some television.
Some TV.
Let's do it.
TV time.
I think it's my turn to start now.
Yeah. Where's first?
So okay. I selected Batman, the animated series. This was a television show, a cartoon that ran from 1992 to 1995. So I was between I was 7 and 10 when the show was on the air, 7 and 11. Hey.
Those numbers are everywhere. It's crazy.
It was developed by Bruce Timm and Eric Radmonsky and produced by Warner Brothers Animation. It originally aired on Fox Kids. Do you remember that?
No,
Saturday.
I don't.
I can't remember if it aired when it was originally airing, if it aired in the morning, like on Saturday morning. I think it aired like early afternoon, like it was one of those after school shows, you know?
Uh-huh.
We watched 3 episodes of the show because obviously it ran for 4 seasons, so we couldn't watch all of it. But we watched Heart of Ice, the Mr. Freeze episode. We watched Baby Doll. We'll talk about that in a little bit.
Okay.
And we watched Almost Got 'Em, which was the episode where all the villains are getting together, playing cards and talking about the time they almost killed Batman. This show, so I watched the hell out of the show. After the show ended, there was another show called Batman Beyond that came after it. That was a futuristic version, like it was way into the future. Well, not way into the future. It was into the future, and it was a new Batman in a new suit, and Bruce Wayne was actually like an old man who was like the man at the computer that helped out the young new Batman. That's a great show too. But this show I think is really phenomenal. I think it takes a lot of its aesthetic from the Tim Burton Batman films.
I could see that. Because
it has like a kind of a noir, like almost seems like it takes place in the 50s, you know, with like the cars that people driving and the architecture and the outfits. Like, but it's like, it's definitely out of place because it's not the 50s, but it looks like it is. The intro music takes the Danny Elfman Batman score from the first 2 movies and remixes it a little bit. And I think they use a lot of Elfman music throughout the series. But I remember, so I have a very distinct memory of the show, and this is why I picked it.
Okay.
We had just moved to Texas, so it was 1992. The show it was 93, so the show had been on for a year. But we had just moved to Texas, and we were moving into our house. So when we moved to Texas, we lived in a rental house for a few months until the summer. I think it was from March until July because our house was being built. And then we moved in the middle of summer, we moved into the house, and I was in the way. I remember like my parents went upstairs. We have an upstairs game room, set up a TV, which is this old, terrible box, huge, large TV, and just said,
Scotty,
watch TV.
Stay here.
Yeah, stay here, watch TV because you're getting in the way. And cable didn't have cable. It was satellite. There wasn't not satellite. There was antenna. There were antennas on top of the television.
What's an antenna?
Yeah. So Fox was one of the 4 shows we had, and the Batman was on, and I think I had watched it before this point, but I just remember like it was, I don't know if it was a marathon or they were just like, it was a block of like 4 episodes, but I just remember the first thing I did in my new house that I grew up in from 8 years old to adulthood was watch Batman, the animated series, sitting on the floor in my game room. I loved the show, and I still love the show. The 3 episodes we watched, I thought were great. The thing about this show is it's definitely a kids show, but it's dealing with some pretty heavy stuff. Like the 3 episodes we watched, Heart of Ice, is Mr. Freeze dealing with, you know, like he's not even like he's the bad guy of the episode, but the real bad guy of the episode is GothCorp, the company that he used to work for that created him when he was doing unauthorized experiments trying to save his wife. So I mean, it's like themes of like the corruption of business and how Mr. Freeze is like the misunderstood villain who's just blinded by revenge, which is a lot for a kid.
Well, when you're a kid, you don't realize that that's all that's going on.
But I give him some credit. I don't think I could sit a kid down and explain and have them explain that to me. But I think like emotionally, you get it. I think it's pretty transparent that the real bad guy is the GothCorp guy.
I would think that. I don't know if they would be able to say certain people are in that episode. I don't know if they would have really known like who is I guess they would have known that GothCorp is not good, but I don't know if they would have thought Mr. Freeze is potentially good. I think they would have just seen 2 bad guys, and they would have.
He is a bad guy.
But
he killed people.
They wouldn't have ever thought that he could have. His motive. I don't think that they would have understood his motivation as well.
I don't think you're giving kids enough credit.
Yeah. I had a conversation with you about something earlier this year, and they were just a lot more black and white on it, or like, I forget what it was. So now I'm questioning everything.
Okay.
I'm questioning everything, Scott.
So the next episode we watched was Baby Doll, which is the story of a 30-something-year-old woman who has, I forget what they call the disorder, the disease, and
Is that real? Is that a real disease?
I mean, there's things like that. It's not exactly her, like,
it's not exactly how it was in the show. Okay.
because Gary Coleman had a disease. I forget what his was called.
That kept him from seemingly aging.
Yeah, I mean, he was very short. Like, he didn't have, I don't think he had like dwarfism or whatever it was called, but he had a thing that kept him, he was very short and always kind of young looking. But yeah, anyway, she has a disease that keeps her looking like a little tiny kid, like a very tiny kid, like a baby.
Doll.
Yeah, and she was on this very popular show, and it got
Baby Doll.
It got canceled, and then this. I mean, again, this is another episode with a pretty complex villain, and where she's doing bad things, but her motivation behind it is heartbreaking. Like, she's a person, like, she was typecast as this thing. She tried to be a serious actor after the show ended, and no one took her seriously. No one liked her. No one wanted her. So she got to the point where the only thing she felt like she could do is try to bring her old family back together because they're the only ones that really loved her. And then the very end of the episode is her in a fun house and like looking at a mirror and seeing like an adult version of herself, like the version of herself that she will never have, the person she feels on the inside but will never have. And that was sad. That's some deep shit, babe. Like,
yeah, that was really
a Saturday
sad.
morning cartoon, and it's like so profound and shocking. And I had forgotten about this episode. The other two episodes we watched, I very distinctly remember, but I had forgotten all about this one. Oh my God. And then the last one is Almost Got Him, which is just I think that's just a fun,
I think
it's almost like a bottle
fun.
Episode thing where they're just sharing stories, and it turns out Batman is the croc.
It brings in all of those bad guys that are memorable.
Yeah, it's like 5 of the Rogues Gallery. Like the Penguin is there, Joker's there, Two-Face, Poison Ivy, Croc.
I didn't know Croc. And then Scott didn't even reveal the secret to me. I asked who that was. And then he's like, "Oh, it's just Croc." And then at the end, it's Batman.
I didn't want to spoil
the episode.
the episode.
Scott, why didn't
you
you tell me it was Batman? It wasn't Croc. You should have just said, "That's Batman."
That would have spoiled the whole reveal for you.
No, it would have been fine. I did like how they did that though, with the shadows. Yeah. I thought that was a nice touch.
It's a very like stylized, artistic animated show. I think it holds up remarkably well. And Elyse, in October, they're releasing Blu-rays of the whole series in HD for the first time.
Oh, it's just after your birthday. I guess you can't get it. What a bummer.
I'm gonna just buy it.
No, you can't. It won't be your birthday.
I'm just gonna buy it.
But there's no reason.
I mean, this show created a lot of characters, a lot of bad guys. Like Baby Doll was a creation of the show. You know who else was a creation of this show? Harley Quinn.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she was created for. We didn't watch her episode. We could have watched her episode, but she's in a lot of episodes. But you could have watched her like origin episode.
Yeah, she was in the one that we watched. That was the bad guy. Yeah.
But she was so popular that they eventually put her in the comics, and then
how crazy
Suicide Squad. But she's. I think she's really the only one from like that was original to this show that really broke out. But so what did I've been talking a lot because I love this show so much. What did you think of Batman the Animated Series?
After watching those 3 episodes in particular, I think I've actually seen one of those before. The Baby Doll one actually seemed very familiar to me. I don't remember when I would have seen it. I do think that there was one summer where I was babysitting, or I was a nanny for these 2 little boys, and they loved Batman, and they would just watch Batman cartoons all day long. If I had let them, but I didn't let them watch them all day long. But I think that this was the series that they were watching, and it was reruns that were on.
I think
don't know. I mean, I liked it. I think if I were a kid and I had found it and I was watching it, it was on TV, I would have liked it.
Yeah. This is my favorite Batman.
This is your favorite Batman?
This is my favorite Batman.
Not Christian Bale?
Screw you, Chris Nolan. I don't like the Christopher Nolan Batmans that much. I think this is a better version of Batman. I think this is a better version of Batman than just about any Batman out there. And I think Kevin Conroy plays the voice of Batman, and he, to me, is what Batman sounds like. Yeah, I think he's perfect. I love his voice so much. This is my Batman. This will always be my Batman. And I don't like Batman anymore, really. Like, when I was a kid, I was all about Batman. It wasn't until, because like when you're a little kid, like the age I was when I was watching this, Batman's like the cool, edgy one, and you're like, Batman.
I want to be a bad boy.
It wasn't until I got a little older that I was like, no, Superman's my dude. I like Superman. And that's kind of how I am as an adult too. Like, with the exception of going back and visiting this, I see Batman as like, it's like, dude, just chill. Just chill. Go see a shrink. Like, just go.
Oh my gosh.
He has to. Batman's screwed up.
I mean, his parents were killed right in front of him.
Yeah, so it's totally normal to spend the entire rest of your life dressing up in a costume and fighting people because your parents, that's healthy, right? That's totally healthy.
I mean, it may not be healthy, but at least he's doing something to help himself process, right?
Is he?
Yeah.
No, I don't think he's.
Why not?
I didn't know this was going to turn into a Batman discussion. No, I don't think he's.
Some people take up boxing. Some people, go running and train for marathons, and he just fights crime. He doesn't kill anybody.
Well, depending on which version.
Well, this version, he doesn't
Affleck.
kill anybody.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. You could argue that he would probably could help prevent more crime if he used his billions of dollars and all his time to like help people instead of like going out at night and solving crime.
Well, he seemed so helpless when he was little. Like, he didn't do anything. And so now he's trying to do something.
Yeah, I get the psychological break.
Yeah.
I get the reason why he's doing it. It's not good.
It doesn't make sense to you, but it makes sense to him. So let him do what helps him. Scott, just let Batman do what Batman wants to do.
Okay,
Yeah, go ahead.
A hypothetical real world situation.
Okay.
If you knew someone whose parents died when he was 7 years old.
Yeah.
And 30 years later.
Yeah.
Every night he puts on dark clothing.
Yeah.
And goes into dangerous areas of the city.
Yeah.
And tries to punch criminals.
Yeah.
Would you say that's a mentally balanced, healthy person?
I mean, I'd probably ask some questions. And then when I look up at the movie shelf right up above you and I just stare at this movie called Split, things just go through my head. But, no one's perfect. What?
I just can't.
What?
It's just like, that's like your conclusion. It's like, yeah, I mean, this is
normal, but what's normal?
This is seriously deranged, but Po Buddy's perfect.
I mean, hey, Batman's got to do what a Batman's got to do.
Yeah, he needs to go talk to someone.
And think about all those horrible people that would just be gallivanting around the streets of Gotham.
But there's the rub, babe. Are the horrible people there because...
We're not going to go with the chicken and egg conversation with Batman and criminals. We're just not going to go there, okay?
But that's like... But you can, though.
You could.
You can.
But we're not going to blame everything in the world bad because there are good people. Like, no.
Those are different... I don't think Batman's that good.
Well, we're not having a debate about if Batman is good or not, I guess.
I was trying to, but you're rejecting it. Yeah.
Why?
That was the whole crux of my argument. Is I don't think Batman's a good guy. I mean, he's a good guy. I don't think he's. I think there are much better ways to help people than dress up in a cowl and go punch criminals in the face.
Well, yes, I think so too. But I think he's helping people.
You're too kind to Batman.
Am I?
Yeah.
I'm just an optimist in this situation.
I suppose so.
Yes.
All right, Elyse.
Let's talk about another superhero.
Let's talk about another superhero, a better superhero.
Your favorite superhero.
A super rare superhero. Elyse, what's your second choice show?
So let me just go ahead and start out with this and say, I had a really hard time even thinking about a show that I watched when I was a kid. I think I was talking to my mom about it, and most of our childhood stuff, I feel like the shows that we did watch, you watched as well. And then if it wasn't a show, we rented a lot of movies. We didn't watch as much TV in the age gap that we were really looking for. And so that was, you didn't really want to go above, 10 years old. Like, what were we watching when we were 7 to 10 or even younger than that? And so childhood. Yeah. So I had a really hard time thinking about stuff. And then I thought, oh my gosh, I loved Mary Kate and Ashley, and they had those shows. And then So Little Time was technically later. That was when I was in middle school, because that came out in 2001. And so I couldn't do that.
I don't know what that is.
That's Mary Kate and Ashley's other show.
So they just kept like spinning up sitcoms.
Yeah, they've got tons of stuff. And then I thought back to before I moved to Rockwall, where my parents are. And then I thought, you know what? Before that, we used to watch all these shows on Sundays for family night. And so one of the Sunday family night shows that we watched was Lois and Clark, The Adventures of Superman. We also watched 60 Minutes, or I at least remember the stopwatch, because as soon as the stopwatch ended and it got to the 60 minute, then Lois and Clark came on. So that's all that I really remember about the 60 Minutes. And then we would also watch Early Edition. And I originally wanted to watch Early Edition as my second show, but then that one wasn't anywhere either, because Kyle Chandler was like, screw this. I don't want anyone to know that I was on anything other than Friday Night Lights. So that's how we landed on Lois and Clark, because it was available. And then today, as I was driving home from school, I realized there were two other shows that I watched all the time, but I don't even know what the names of them are. But there's the one where the girl, she dressed up in like these really bright outfits, and she had these tights on that were striped, and she'd lay on this rug, and then she'd do the splits, and her legs were the clock.
What are you talking about?
I don't know. She was teaching me time. I just remember it because I thought, my word, she's so flexible. And then I would try and see if I could do the splits and then make my legs go around like a clock, and I couldn't do it. So I know I watched that show, but I don't remember what it was called. And then I watched another one about painting, Pappy's painting.
Do you want to talk about the show that we did watch?
Yeah, so I just watched a lot of weird TV when I was little. But I did watch Lois and Clark, The Adventures of Superman.
I think it's crazy that I just was like, Saturday morning cartoons, any? And you were just like, no.
Not that I could remember. I mean, I guess I watched Sonic the Hedgehog, but you watched Sonic the Hedgehog. So I was trying to think of something different. And then I got something anyways that you watched.
Sonic the Hedgehog.
Yeah.
Sonic, he can really move. Sonic, he's got an attitude. Sonic, he's the fastest thing alive.
Yeah, I see. I didn't even know the song.
He's the fastest thing alive.
I watched Captain Planet. Anyways, so Lois and Clark, The Adventures of Superman.
Okay.
I picked that show. It is about Superman, obviously. It came out in 1993. It had 4 seasons and ended in 97. It was developed by Deborah Joy Levine, who also did my show Early Edition that I couldn't find. I was so upset. She was a writer for that. And then also Dawson's Creek, which I found later in life and loved Dawson's Creek. So
she was just an executive producer of that.
She's just an executive producer of that. Dean Cain, I think this is like his big thing. And then Terry Hatcher. Because of this show and me knowing who she was from Lois and Clark, I watched a little bit of Desperate Housewives back in the day. But those are the two main characters, Superman, Lois Lane. Mm-hmm. We watched 2 episodes, sorry.
We watched the pilot, which was 2 hours
which was really long. Yeah, so we watched the pilot, and then we watched another episode from season 1 that was called The Green, Green Glow of Home, which kind of introduced kryptonite to the audience. Yeah. So I guess I kind of already went into a little bit about why I picked it, but it was when I was younger. I guess the show came out in 93, so I would have been 4 when it came out, but I don't think that I was 4 when I remember watching this. I was probably like 6 or 7, first or second grade. But this was the Sunday night show that we would watch. And so I just have this very vivid memory of every Sunday night we would have dinner, go get something. And I don't know why, I just remembered like not every week, but we would go and we get like burgers from Burger King because that's what we had in our little town. And so me and my dad would go and we'd pick them up for the family. And I'd just sit in the drive-thru. And that's where I learned about in the drive-thru, they had those little crepe myrtle bushes, you know, and he'd like pick out the little flowers and he'd push it so that the flower popped out. And then I'd pretend like it was Little Mermaid lip gloss from the movie, and then we'd go home and we'd take our dinner and we'd all watch it as a family. And so it was just like, it was a family show, and I think it was a family friendly show, at least for kids, because all the things that were evidently the innuendos that you watched the second time around, you thought, oh, I didn't realize what they meant when this happened. You know, like that was totally over my head when I was little, but it, you know, for the most part was not anything that a 7-year-old couldn't watch, 7 or I guess 10-year-old, because that's what my older sister would have been, about 10 when we were watching it. And so, I mean, it was just fun.
This is an interesting show.
It is. I mean, I don't think that it's a great show.
I don't think it's aged particularly well. It looks very cheap. The streets outside of the Daily Planet definitely look like a backlot.
Yeah,
like, definitely look like a backlot. The effects of Superman flying aren't the best, but who cares? Because I mean, that's the thing about the show, is this is not a Superman show. This is a romance that also has Superman in it. This is a show about this is a show about a love triangle between Clark Kent, Lois Lane, and Superman. And that's, I mean, there's a reason why the show is named Lois and Clark, and it's not just because of a play off of the Explorers. They are the Clark, like Clark as Clark is more of a character in this than he is in just about any Superman show, with the exception of, I guess, maybe Smallville. Yeah. Because that's literally like a 10-year long origin story.
Him,
But the pilot, he doesn't become Superman until, so this is literally an origin story, kind of. I mean, we don't see him land on Earth. We don't see any of his childhood. The show starts, he's 27 or so. He's supposed to be 27 or 28 or something. He's just arrived in Metropolis. He just gets a job at the Daily Planet, and it's not until the end of that 2-hour episode that he dons the cape and the
very, very end,
and becomes Superman. But yeah, I mean, you're right that there's a lot of innuendo in this. There's a lot of doublespeak about things, which I thought was pretty funny to my adult ears.
Yeah, which is probably why I think shows like this and even movies like this are so much fun to watch when you're an adult, and especially when you were a kid before, and then you watch it again and you have that moment of, oh my gosh, my parents let me watch this when I was little. Yeah. What is going on here? And then you realize it was just because when you were a kid, you didn't understand all of that. And so it wasn't a big deal. Yeah. And then now you think, oh my, you know.
That was me with Ghostbusters. Like, it's totally over my head. Yeah. I watched the show too. I remember so little of it though. Like I don't remember details of the show. What I remember is in my game room upstairs, the same game room that I watched Batman in. We had, our 2 couches, like in a
facing each other.
In an L.
In an L. Okay.
And I would run as I was watching Lois and Clark. I would run along the tops of the backs of the couches, back and forth, pretending I was Superman.
Of course you would.
Yeah, and I had to have been. I couldn't have been much older than I was when I was watching the Batman show, because it was around the same time. But I remember doing that, and I it's so weird that I watched the show, because if I was watching it upstairs in my game room, it means I was watching it by myself, because my parents didn't really come to watch TV upstairs in the game room. If we were watching TV as a family, it was downstairs in the living room. And I think they probably watched some of the show at some point, but I was the one that carried it on. And it's so funny to me, the show that barely has Superman in it is a show that I really attached myself to. I don't remember why. I think it was probably just like that I thought Terry Hatcher was really, really pretty.
She is very pretty.
Yeah. And she's
And
really...
Dean Cain, I mean, think about who looks like Superman. I mean, that was my very first experience of Superman was him. And so he is always who I compare anyone and everyone to always when it was Superman.
He's a good Superman.
And he is fantastic. And he's so handsome.
He had a bit of the 90s hair going on.
I mean, but doesn't Superman in general have a bit of the 90s hair going on?
No, not
I think
90s hair, like 40s hair.
I mean, it all circles back eventually.
But yeah, I mean, I thought Dean Cain was really good. I mean, I think he fits the part. Like Dean Cain as an acting performance,
I didn't think
not great.
And that was interesting to me too, is I didn't think that him, nor really Terry Hatcher.
Oh, I disagree. I think Terry Hatcher was like...
In the pilot,
I think she is the reason why the show went on for 5 years. Because I think she's got so much energy to her. She's a perfect Lois Lane. Like for a while, this was my image of Lois Lane, just like Dean Cain was my image of Superman. She has that spunk and that sarcasm, and I think she's great. I really liked her in this, even in the pilot. I thought that, pilots are always kind of janky. They're like, it's a show still trying to find itself. It doesn't really know what it wants to be yet. But the one thing that was very clear from the pilot is that Terry Hatcher had Lois Lane down, to me at least.
I don't know. It seemed a little, maybe it's just the Lois Lane character in general is very, I was just going to say she's just very extra, which I know is so 21st century to even say.
Oh.
She's just so extra.
You've been hanging out with kids too often.
I know. It's just like, I don't know. She's just a little much for me. And that's just the character, I guess.
And the weird thing, I mean, like, Lex Luthor is in this show.
Yeah, but he's not bald.
He wasn't always bald.
Babe, where's Lex Luthor's bald head? That's the only reason I married you, is because I thought you reminded me of Lex Luthor, and I liked your bald head.
Well, it's kind of weird that he's not in the show after the first season. Like, he's on occasional episodes.
Yeah.
But he's not a main cast member.
Yeah.
Because, like, the show, it doesn't, like, explore that much of the Superman mythos. Like, because it's more interested in Clark and Lois. Yeah. And they replaced their Jimmy Olsen, and the one that I remember is the one they were after. It's apparently after the first season.
I remember the later one because I guess
Justin Whalen.
We didn't even watch it until I was older. If we watched it, I hadn't remembered it until I was older.
Which is, I mean, it was a good call, because in the 3 episodes we watched, Jimmy Olsen was kind of like a wet blanket that
not great.
Yeah,
but I liked the other one.
Yeah, I did too,
from what I remember. But I mean, it's been a long time.
I think the same about Lex Luthor. I don't think he, like, John Shea, like, there was
didn't do much for you.
There was nothing to him. Like, I just, like, there was nothing that, like, attracted me to hit the idea, that portrayal as a character. Like, I love the character of Lex Luthor. I find him fascinating, and there was nothing there.
Well, if you think about maybe when you were little, you didn't necessarily know or understand as much about that character.
Yeah,
probably
but
wouldn't have bothered you as much. But
I don't remember Lex Luthor in this show when I think of it as when I watched it as a kid.
I don't know.
And Cat Grant is in this as well, who they ditched after a season, which is not surprising because she's terrible.
Yeah, I don't like her.
Yeah.
They were trying to find themselves, and then they decided a different direction of how they wanted to go. And then they lasted for 3 more seasons. And four. I thought it was only 4 seasons.
93. 94, 95, 96, 97.
I thought there were only 4 seasons, but
I'm pretty sure there were 5. Yeah, so I don't know. It's a cheesy show. I probably, if they released a Blu-ray edition of
I would totally get it.
No, you would not.
I would.
I don't believe you.
It's just I have so much nostalgia, not even tied to the fact that I remember much to anything about the show. It is just this is what I watched when I was little with my family. And so I want to have that. And it's just that sort of thing. I would want it.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
I don't think they're going to do it.
Well, that's a shame.
But it is available on iTunes.
Crying shame.
It is. You can rent
Crying
the episodes
now.
for $2 each on iTunes.
Why? Why?
Elise. Oh my god.
What?
Oh my god.
What?
Nothing.
I'm just crying
I
because
love
they're
you.
not doing what I want them to do. Why won't this industry ever do anything for me?
How about you?
How much money have I given this industry and nothing comes back to help me?
I think what we've done
It's all
here
about me.
is we've discovered that your tastes are unique.
I know. And why don't they just want to help?
Every
two of a kind. Come on, guys.
32 episodes.
Every other Mary Kate and Ashley thing.
32 episodes of the show. How many times have we had trouble tracking down the things that I picked?
All by myself.
How many times? Elise, answer the question. How many times have we?
I keep watching things by myself all the time.
How many times, Elise?
Too many times.
No, the answer is 0 times. 0 times. I had difficulty tracking down my
Oh,
selection.
I didn't hear you ask the question. I thought you were talking about
You were
me.
too busy singing.
Too into myself. I didn't hear you talk to me.
All right, let's talk about what we're doing next week.
My voice is really bad this week, guys. I'm sorry my singing voice is not up to par.
Yeah, my Sonic was just on point.
Yeah, yours was better than mine.
What is that supposed to? Yeah, like always.
I know.
So
Like
next
always.
week we are growing up a little bit. We're moving from childhood television to
Teenage
TV.
years. Skipping over those tweens so
Yeah.
Scott doesn't have to watch so little time.
Thank God.
Yeah.
Elise, what'd you pick?
Oh, so I picked a classic that came out when I was in high school. And I didn't even watch all of it when I was in high school, but then I rewatched it later. So I can proudly say I've seen every episode of Gossip Girl.
I've never
I'm
seen
so
a minute
excited.
of that show. So
Oh my gosh,
this is
it's gonna be perfect timing,
completely
too.
new experience for me.
Because the Blake Lively movie is going to be coming out soon. A Simple Truth.
Uh-huh.
And she's in Gossip Girl.
Didn't even know that.
You didn't know she was in Gossip Girl?
I've never seen a minute of that show.
You didn't even know Blake Lively was in Gossip Girl? What? Who are you?
I'm your husband.
Ugh, I don't even know if you are anymore.
A man who has not watched
Who
Gossip
are
Girl.
you? What are you watching? What are we watching for you, rather?
Somebody save me.
More Superman.
We're watching more Superman. The show that I watched when I was a teenager was Smallville, the WB Superman origin story drama. I've got a lot of things to say about the show because
But
I love it to death.
we're limited to time.
We're gonna watch all 10 seasons before next week.
No.
I think you really have to watch
I've seen the first season.
3 to 4 seasons to get an idea of what the show
Well,
is.
it's a good thing I've seen the first season.
No,
And then the JTT episode, or was that in the first season?
it was.
Yeah. That's right, JTT.
So yeah, I really like Smallville, and I still like Smallville. I don't care what anyone says. Smallville was great. And we're going to talk about it next week.
I do believe, or at least a while ago, all episodes of Gossip Girl were on Netflix.
Yeah, I mean,
So therefore, it could be watched by you all.
yeah, your show is going to be a lot easier to track down this week.
Yes.
Thank God. And so is mine because
We'll start after this.
it's all on Hulu and also right there
and
over
you
on my
have
shelf.
all of the seasons.
No, I don't have the 10th season yet. I've
What?
never seen the last 3 seasons. I kind of bowed out.
Oh my
before it
gosh.
ended.
You don't even know how Smallville ends?
I don't.
And we're going to talk about it?
Here's
What in the world are you doing, Scott?
I'm gonna
I
make-
would totally talk like a teenager would the whole time. Do I do that anyways?
yes.
Oh man.
I'm gonna
I'll
take
just talk normal.
I'm gonna take a guess about how Smallville ends. He becomes Superman.
Yeah, I bet you're right.
Yeah.
That's a good way to end it.
Yeah.
Huh. Maybe he flies off in the distance
Maybe
with
he
with a cape?
Yeah. I think he probably dies is probably what happens.
Oh, that'd be a good conclusion too.
All right, guys, that's all we have time for this week. If you like this podcast, you can check it and all the other shows we do out at. I need to work on that
What other
sentence.
shows
Go
do
to
we do?
go to doofmedia.com. What other shows do we do?
Yeah, I don't do another show with you. What other shows do you do?
I do We've Got Ward, a show analyzing and inspecting the hit web serial Ward.
Oh,
I do the Doofcast, our variety show where we talk about movies and books and television and games but
anything else we feel like talking about?
it's a lot more intellectual than this podcast.
What?
I'm just kidding.
I think
babe.
we're very intellectual.
You can't say it without laughing.
You were looking at me funny.
I was looking at you like, come on.
We both have brains.
We do.
We use
and
our
we
brains.
occasionally use them. Also, consider donating to our Patreon account. It's patreon.com/doofmedia. If you happen to be listening via Apple Podcasts, Elyse wants you to leave a rating and a review. It really helps other people find the show.
I do.
And we want to... my goal in life is to show Elyse to the world. And I need
He
more.
wants to put me on Twitch or something like that.
We're gonna start. Elyse plays video games and see how that goes.
Elyse plays a video game.
Will you to start?
Elyse does not play video games.
We'll get you playing Fortnite before
I played
the year is
one game
out.
and I'm a gamer.
Can you imagine if you went to school?
What if
and
I became
said-
a sensation?
Can you
What
imagine if you went to school and said, "Hey kids, I streamed Fortnite on Twitch last night and I killed Ninja." They would crown you the queen.
They would think I was really cool.
Yeah, they would.
I mean, I already think that they worship the ground that I walk on, but that would just make it even better.
Now they will worship the digital ground.
But see,
that
then
you
the
walk
deal
on.
would be is that they would try and find me playing, and then they would watch it, and then you get into the whole thing of, you can't really interact with them via that. So
Yeah. Well, just ignore them. Say, hey, go to bed. Do your homework.
yeah, if they're on when they should be in bed,
Yeah.
they'll have to go to
You
bed.
email
'Cause
their
I will
moms.
know. I will say, excuse me, your child is playing video games when they should be in bed. Please put them to bed.
All right, guys.
Please go to bed.
We'll see you next week.
Goodbye.
I really want to see you play Fortnite now. I think that'd be so funny. I've never even played Fortnite, but I think it'd be really funny.
I don't know how to play.
You just shoot people.
I'm not good at that.
I know.
Yeah, I tense up.